And so if you haven't already done so, please make sure you are in a comfortable seated position, supported by a chair, a cushion, a bolster, a towel, anything that enables you to sit with an upright posture so that your thoracic cavity, your rib cage, can expand to its full capacity in every direction. And having a little bit of water handy, always a good idea. Then to start our centering, we'll just place our hands on our thighs, close the eyes, and just start to pay attention to how you're breathing right now. You may find that your breath right now is very shallow and high in your chest, or maybe even just lifting the collarbones. Or perhaps you're breathing and the whole body is moving as you breathe. We're not trying to change anything yet, just accepting whatever's happening in your body right now. And then scanning your body from the lowest point and feeling the contact of the ground beneath you, supporting your skeleton. Slowly drawing your awareness up through the segments of the body, from the bottom all the way to the crown of the head. And you can label anything you observe, like hot or cold or tense or tight or relaxed or heavy. Feel free to label those parts of the body as you gently draw your awareness through them. And if you have not already done so, drawing your attention right to the very top of your head, the crown of your head. And once you've allowed into your conscious awareness everything about your current state of being, we can now draw that line in the sand and delineate between everything that's happened in our day up to this point and the start of our breath and meditation practice. And we make a silent commitment that for the next 45 minutes, we will commit our full energy and attention to the work of strengthening our attention, to optimizing our breath, to support our best health and our peak performance on snow. While keeping your eyes closed, we rub the palms together to make the palms warm, or you can blow on your palms. And then placing your warm palms over your closed eyes for 3 deep sighing breaths. First we inhale and then exhale. 2 more times, inhaling And the last one, really release. Drawing your palms away from your eyes and opening the eyes, allowing light back in, and just observing how you feel. So for today's session, we're going to start with the mechanics of a relaxation breath and a mind calming meditation. We touched on this in class number 2, that there are specific ratios of breath that we can practice to either dial up or dial down the autonomic nervous system. And for today's practice, we're dialing down the autonomic nervous system. So where this can be of great benefit to you on snow is if you're really anxious, if anxiety is to a point where it's affecting your concentration, if it's becoming a level of fear that's grabbing all of your attention, and this is preventing you from being able to perform, then this is the kind of breath I recommend doing just to bring you down a little bit. Now, as athletes, though, it's important to note that there are times when we need to have that feeling of butterflies. We need to have the adrenaline and the cortisol, because that actually is the body getting ready to perform. So there's a fine line. And as a young athlete, really it's part of your training to discover in your body and your awareness of yourself, what is that prime zone? Not too much, not too little, but just enough. So the type of breath practice we're doing tonight, it's really good to do in the evening before you go to bed. And it can be really helpful if you are before a training run, before going through gates, at the top of the race course. If you're just too elevated, this breath can bring you down. However, as I mentioned, sometimes you just need to feel those butterflies, and that's totally okay and valid. So the ratio for a relaxation breath is we want the length of the exhale to be longer than the inhale. And we also want to maximize breath efficiency through posture. So in yoga practice, there's a series of steps. There's 8 steps. The first 2 are called the yamas and the niyamas, and they're basically lifestyle practices, healthy lifestyle practices to make the body prime for the next step, which is the physical practice of yoga, the part that most people are familiar with, the yoga postures. And then after that, breath practice. And the reason is we need to have our perfect, or as close to perfect, upright posture to allow the rib cage to expand as possible in order to be able to regulate the ratio of the breath. So before we start our breath practice tonight, we're going to do a series of stretches. And for each of you, you're going to modify my suggestions so that it suits you. But we're going to start with the topmost part of the body, and then we're going to work to the lowest part of the torso. So first, taking one hand to the opposite ear, doesn't matter which, and you're just gently drawing your ear towards your shoulder. At the same time, you're going to extend the opposite hand. I'll just show you a little bit more here of what I'm doing. So I'm extending my opposite hand down and pressing my fingertips into the floor, or just reaching my hand down. The goal is to stretch the side of the neck. Now, at this point in our session, we're going to start to consciously breathe, aiming to make the length of the inhale and the exhale even. And we're not really pulling on the head. The hand is more just a guide. And we get a lot more benefit by just letting the breath and our conscious effort to relax do the deepening of the stretch for us. You can drop your shoulder away from your ear. You may even experiment with externally rotating your upper arm, and that will create more stretch towards the front of the neck. One more breath. And then as we empty the lungs, coming back to neutral. We're going to take a moment here to pause before we go to the other side. In yoga, there's a philosophy, no pain means no pain. And we move slowly through the practice, giving the body time to calibrate. And really what we're calibrating is the communication between the brain and the central nervous system. And we don't need to rush that. So now with upright posture, we take the opposite hand and opposite ear to shoulder as we extend our hand down to the floor. And with slow, deliberate breath, equal inhale to exhale. And again, if you want to, you can externally rotate the upper arm, drop that shoulder away from the ear a little bit more. And one more cycle of breath. Releasing slowly, bringing your head back to neutral alignment. And then the next, we're going to draw the chin towards the chest. So we lengthen the spine, and with your exhale, draw your chin towards your chest. And we're not straining or pulling. We just let gravity do the work for us, letting the head be heavy, all the muscles in the back of the neck getting this really nice stretch. And just a couple more breaths. And then coming up to neutral. Now slowly doing half moon with your head from one side to the other. We're not going all the way back, just to your capacity in a way that's comfortable. Drawing your head on this arc to stretch all the muscles in the side and the back of the neck. And then when you hit the bottom, we come back to neutral, and then just turning the head on its axis. Okay. Now you can, if you feel like you need more work for your neck, you can do a little bit more of that. Otherwise, we're going to progress to the shoulder joint. So just drawing circles in the air with your elbows. Just moving the joint to your capacity. Now, if you want to get black diamond yogi, you connect the rhythm of the breath to the movement. So every time the elbows come forward and up, that's an inhale. And every time the elbows come back and down, that would be an exhale. It's harder to do than it sounds. And the movement will be slow. That's part of what's challenging, is the patience to move slowly. Changing the direction. So again, it would be inhale on the back and up this time, and then exhale as the elbows come forward and down. This is a practice called Pawanmuktasana. As part of the Hatha Yoga practice, it translates to mean joint lubricating. And we're going to do the same thing with the elbows, just circling with elbows, going both directions. So there's fluid in the joint capsule, synovial fluid. And just by moving the joints through their full range of motion, we actually are bathing the articular cartilage, the tissues inside the joint with oxygen and nutrients. So there's that old adage, if you don't move it, you lose it. It's actually true. We'll interlace our fingers and draw figure eights with the hands and changing the direction. So this is an exercise, actually. It's very good for connecting your attention to your body immediately. So I'm going to just get you to change direction again. And so figure eight and then change the direction. Change again and change again. And change and change. So the attention required to just automatically shift. It's good practice first thing in the morning. And then just moving your fingers through their full range of motion. And shaking out the wrists. Okay, last thing will be a body wave. Now, the idea here is that we have all of these muscles that wrap around the rib cage and all of this connective tissue throughout the torso. And what we want to make sure is that we recorrect our alignment so we don't have a hunched over posture by moving the spine through its full extension and flexion range. And so with hands on your thighs, to your comfort level, lifting your chin and arching your back. And then as you exhale, drawing your belly button in towards your spine and just curling. Excuse me. Good stretch of the lungs. Inhale, arch the spine. And then exhale, curve the spine. Doing this a few more times. This is similar to a couple yoga postures, cat-cow. One more. And then the last thing, lateral flexion of the spine. And so for this one, just taking one arm over and stretching the whole side body. And then inhaling, coming back up. Exhaling, opposite side. Inhaling up. And exhaling. And up. Last one. Perfect. And hopefully from all of that movement now, it'll be easy to find a neutral alignment for your upright posture. So for tonight, what we're going to start with is a even length breath practice. So same cadence, inhale and exhale. Same breath count, inhale, exhale. And then we're going to add a hold of the breath, a retention at the top of the inhale. And then after we do that, we're going to add lengthening of the exhale. We'll do these three practices in sections, and I'm going to guide you through it. So first, finding your upright posture. Again, please close your eyes. And we will start by emptying the lungs. And as you inhale, allow the body to be relaxed. Figure out what your count is and make your exhale the same count. And we'll do just a few more of these. At first, it can be difficult for the body to settle into the breath practice, but be patient with yourself. It's not so much something we have to force, it's more something that will happen through relaxation. Okay, so we've got our count. Now we're going to stop that breath practice. You can open your eyes. I'm going to augment one really important part of the anatomy of the breath, and that is tonight we're going to focus on abdominal breathing. So allowing the belly to expand on the inhale and contract on the exhale. Now, the best way for me to show you this is I'm just going to share my screen for a brief moment, and I have a video I want to share with you that I think you'll like. I absolutely loved this video today. I want to show you a video of babies breathing. Okay. So here we go. And I'll play it with the sound because this one's hilarious, babies snoring. What I want you to notice is how the belly moves. Huge range of motion of the belly. We don't need that advertising. Oh, happy baby, super cute. Focusing on the face here. We'll go back to the belly. This is one of the best I've seen. So the belly inflates on the inhale, and it just naturally draws back on the exhale. And that makes for a happy baby. I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna end the share screen there. Okay, sorry, something is going awry. There we go, I'm back. So how do we do that? It's something that you all did intuitively when you were babies. But as we get older, stress has an impact on our posture, on our autonomic nervous system, and we start to breathe more shallow and more quickly. To allow our bodies to breathe diaphragmatically, the key is to first practice by actually connecting with the sensation of breathing with your belly. And so I'm just going to show you. I'm going to place my hand on my belly. I'll go in profile here. With my inhale, I'm just going to do this. Allow the belly to expand into my hand, and with the exhale, allow it to draw back. And just taking your hand to wherever you feel that inflation happening. And for our next round of breath practice, where we're adding the pause at the top of the inhale, we're going to consciously work on making our inhale happen with the belly expanding first. So again, setting into your upright posture, hand on belly, closing your eyes, and empty your lungs. Together we'll inhale, pause at the top of the inhale, and exhale, belly draws back towards the spine. Inhale, belly inflates into your hand. Pause at the top of the inhale. And as you exhale, the belly contracts towards your spine. Continuing now, please, using your own unique breath rhythm. Remembering even length inhale and exhale with a short pause just at the top of the inhale. And we'll go 3 more cycles of breath. And again, opening your eyes, taking a pause. So you may notice when you're trying to augment your breath rhythm that you actually might feel a little anxious. Your body doesn't want to make that shift. That's completely okay. And if that happens, you can just return to your normal breath rhythm and then return to the practice when you feel ready. Now, just if you want to pop in the chat, any observations about how that change in allowing the abdomen to expand forward and contract felt, feel free. And I'm going to go into the second breath practice, or pardon me, the third breath practice. So for this one, we're going to elongate the length of the exhale. And I'm going to show you the trick for keeping track of breath, because as you start to develop your breath practice, you will find that you're able to stretch the amount of time that you can focus on your breath practice. But to keep track, you want to be able to have some sort of counting device. And so every breath rhythm, so I'm going to guide you through inhaling for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, and then we're going to exhale for a count of 8. That whole sequence would be 1 breath cycle. And we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're going to do this 10 times all together. And another thing that you can use a mallet bead, but we don't need that. We can just use our fingers. Again, getting into an upright posture. And I'm going to count the sequence in for the first 5, and then I'll let you just count the rest yourselves. With eyes closed, emptying the lungs to inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 5 more cycles of breath, counting your own unique breath cadence. And last cycle of breath. And then returning to your normal breath rhythm. And opening your eyes. Just take a moment to recalibrate. Okay, so I'd love to know what your experience was, positive or negative. Feel free to pop it in the chat, or if you want, you can unmute. Did anyone find that they had a difficult time allowing the belly to move? Oh, you guys are naturals. Awesome. Did anyone find that the breath rhythm changed over time? Or were you able to keep that pacing pretty consistent throughout?
I found my the like out exhale breath was getting longer and longer. I had to like focus to keep it at the 8.
Well, that's awesome. Good job. Yeah, that's a sign perhaps that your nervous system, you're feeling that rest and digest component of your nervous system kicking in. Hard time with the 8 count exhale after the 4 count hold. Yeah, definitely. It requires a little bit of practice. And so the 8 might be a bit long. When you're practicing yourself, feel free to shorten that. It could be a 2 count hold and maybe a 6 count exhale. Whatever is a comfortable baseline, and then you can start to lengthen it from there. Okay, cool. Any other observations or any questions?
I felt like I was able to keep my breath at a decent pace throughout the time. And I was sort of able to feel everything working like you were saying.
Awesome, good stuff. Good to hear, Brenda. So Justin, we'll finish our breath practice for this week, but I want to explain something about why diaphragmatic breath is so important. We talked about breath efficiency, just being able to expand the lungs means you can, to their full capacity means you can get more air. But another thing happens when the belly expands forward in space. It is easier for the diaphragm, which is this really big dome-shaped muscle at the base of your thoracic cavity. And it contracts and moves down, but for it to do that, the belly needs to get out of the way. So that's really why the belly expands forward in space. And interestingly, there is a nerve that runs through the diaphragm called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve, when it's stimulated, activates the parasympathetic nervous system response. That's that rest and digest, that calming part of our autonomic nervous system. So that is why there is that physiological link between slowing down the breath, and in particular through a deep diaphragmatic breath, and that calming influence on your emotional body and your mind. Now, the next part of our class tonight, we're going to do a meditation for deep calming. This is body awareness meditation. And we're going to start just by experimenting with a couple observations of the body. So you're just going to pick a point of your body to pay attention to. I'm going to use my right hand. So with eyes closed for just half a minute, whatever part of your body that you're choosing to focus on, just putting the full blast, 100% attention on that one part. Noticing in as much intricate detail as possible. Okay, and then opening your eyes. And now we're going to stimulate the proprioceptors in that part of the body. So I'm just going to rub the right hand now. And so the proprioceptors are these coiled proteins that are distributed throughout all the tissue in your body, all the soft tissue. And it's the coiled proteins sending signals through the nervous system to the brain. That's what creates the awareness of where your body is in space. Pressure, temperature is another part of the peripheral nervous system. But now that you have stimulated that part of your body, you're going to close your eyes and again, put your full attention there. Now you may notice that after activating the proprioceptors, after stimulating the peripheral nervous system in that part of your body, it's easier to pay attention and you have a stronger sense of where that part of the body is in space. So opening your eyes. For myself, a big part of my daily ritual before I put my ski boots on is I massage my feet. The reason is by activating the proprioceptors and the muscle and the connective tissue at the base of my foot, I am waking up the nervous system and my ability to feel where my balance point is on my foot. And I find when I do that, as soon as I get my skis on, I've just got a better, more rock solid sense of the center of the ski. That's something you can experiment with as well, either through just some gentle movement or through massage, experimenting with waking up the parts of your body that you need to be aware of in order to find that centered, aligned, balanced position on your skis. Now, for this meditation to extend beyond just one part of the body, we're going to need even more focus. Now, the idea of this meditation is we're going to start by paying careful attention to the most external part of our body, and then we're going to gradually draw our attention in and in and in, and see how sensitive we can become to sensations going on within the body. And so again, please close your eyes. And we're not trying to change the breath right now. We're just going to let the breath be natural. And please draw your attention to the sensation of the air on your skin. Just the feeling, the temperature, the movement of the air on your skin. Really focusing your entire attention on that sensation, and also the sensation of your clothing, the texture of the clothing, the temperature, how it drapes over your body. And drawing your attention in just one layer. Observe what the muscles are doing. Do you notice that there are any muscles in particular that are working hard to hold your body in this upright posture? Are there some muscles that are not working enough to help support this upright posture? And there's no judgment. It's really just about being curious and somewhat marveling at how incredibly this complex system of tissues organizes itself to support you in this upright posture, to hold you up against gravity throughout your day and all the days of your life. And if you notice your attention gets hooked by a particular sensation or thought, just gently draw your attention back to this moment, focusing on the musculature and its relationship to the skeleton of your body. Now moving one layer deeper, noticing the influence of the lungs expanding and contracting on your body. How that makes your whole body move. And again, friendly reminder, if your mind has wandered, just come back to this moment. Observing this breath Now, one layer deeper, if possible. Observe the movement of your circulatory system. Can you feel your heartbeat? Can you feel your pulse without deliberately trying to find it with your fingers? Just by becoming incredibly focused and attentive, feeling the movement of this fluid throughout your body. You may even notice that when you get to that subtle level of attention, that even just the movement of your circulatory system has this small reverberation. It has this ripple effect of movement throughout your body. Now we'll take the attention from that innermost layer and slowly move the awareness back outward. So from the circulatory system to the breath and the movement of the lungs, the belly, the chest, and then moving your attention outward to the muscular effort involved in maintaining this upright posture and facilitating that movement of the breath. And then lastly, your attention goes to the sensation of your clothing on your skin, the air on your skin. And it's so simple. No matter what's happening in life, this is all you need to pay attention to in this moment. And keeping your eyes closed, just like that baby, allowing the lips to curl up towards the ears in a smile. And letting go of our meditation practice to open the eyes. And just settle back in. Excuse me, I was holding that one. So I'm really curious to know how many of you were able to focus on that first layer with a good amount of attention. Like maybe your mind wandered a little bit, but for the most part, you could stay attentive to the hair on your skin, the clothing on your skin. Okay, got a thumbs up here and there. Perfect. Excellent. How about the muscles? Were you able to feel the muscles that were holding your posture? Awesome. Cool. And how about the movement of the breath in the lungs? Yeah, awesome. How about the circulatory system? Was anyone able to feel their heartbeat or their pulse? Yeah, awesome. Wow, right on, you guys. That's hard for people. A lot of my students, when I'm teaching yoga classes, when I prompt that one, very rarely are people able to have their attention go that subtle. That's really, really good. How about the movement that goes with that? Was anyone able to feel with your circulatory system that there's this tiny bit of movement? Cool. Rowan says, I could feel waves through the body. Felt it quite intensely, actually. Awesome. Andrew, you think so? A little bit, Anya? Brenda, yeah. Okay. Did anyone feel their neck moving? That's one that I feel. When I really get focused to that level, I can feel there's this tiny movement in my neck. Okay, so there's a couple applications for this practice. First of all, what it's training, it's just training your capacity to point your attention where you want it to be. And so when you're in that high stress situation and your mind is getting sucked into all these different thoughts that might be causing anxiety, or could be just plain old distraction, having this muscle strengthen, the ability to tune your attention where you want it to be, is a superpower, and it's not easy. I am the first to admit this is a huge struggle for me. I still, after years and years of meditation, I can find it really hard sometimes to, in the heat of the moment, put my attention where I want it to be. And it really is just a constant practice. I can say, though, I am a lot better at it today than I was 10 years ago, and miles better at it than I was 20 years ago. And I wasn't even conscious of doing it at all before that. So that's one component, being able to tune your attention where you need it to be. Here's another layer of where that's a superpower. Being able to detect injuries before they happen. So a lot of us as athletes, we're pushing our bodies hard all the time, and we're doing everything we can. We're doing dry land, we're doing stretching, health and wellness practices. Oh, and Andrew says that's the creating the gap, right? Yes, it absolutely is. This tuning your attention where you want it to go is helping you strengthen your ability to hold your awareness in that present space and create that little bit of gap. Thank you. Good point. But being able to detect the onset of injury or illness is another superpower of having a super heightened capacity for attention and focus. So things that you might notice when you do breath and meditation work for a while is you just get hypersensitive. You start to notice like, my elbow is really aching. And you can translate that information from not just being like, oh, okay, that's kind of annoying, I'm going to pay attention to social media or something else, but being able to take that information and make decisions based on it. So training your sensitivity to your body, it's a superpower because it's going to give you extra information to make good decisions about how you address your self-care and your training regimen. And then another superpower as well is being able to train your focus so intuitively on your body actually makes you better able to actually attend to other people's bodies through a process called mirror neurons, but we won't get into that. It makes you a little bit more empathetic, a little bit more sensitive, not just to what's going on in your body, but you can start to notice just through body language what's happening with other people. That's something that yoga teachers train really hard to get good at, and coaches too. So I want to open up to any questions about anything that happened in tonight's breath practice or meditation practice. Feel free to let fly. Any questions, you guys? Okay, we'll leave it at that. I thank you guys so much for your attention, for sharing your time with me tonight. And I hope you guys have an awesome week. I would recommend, if you can find the opportunity, to put this practice in your week, maybe just 5 minutes of that relaxing breath practice, or maybe just trying once on the chairlift to tune in and feel your body go from the most external to the most subtle internal layer of attention you can. Oh, I have a good question here. Andrea says, seems that there's a difference between hypervigilance and body awareness. That's a provocative thought. Yeah, I guess what I think of when I think of hypervigilance is working intensely hard to be ready for anything. This is just my definition. I might have to look that up. Body awareness, it's a level of sensitivity. Just really being able to pay attention to the signs that your body is giving you at a deeper level than just, pressure and touch, but feeling that information as emotion, as thoughts that sometimes we're not consciously aware of, the body is aware of. Like, I am so tired, for example. It's really easy to ignore that one, especially when we're living busy lives and we have a lot of demands on us. So I'm going to look that up, Andrea. I'm going to investigate the definition of hypervigilance.
Well, I don't know if I actually mean hypervigilance, but just like having like a major disability and only knowing like 20% of my body actually gives me information. Like I have to look for so many signs and symptoms, like is there pressure on that leg? I don't know. Like when I'm strapped in, I have to look, like pay attention to like pressure in my head. Like, am I actually getting a headache, or is that a sign that something else is going on? Or it's like part of my strapping too tight, or is my leg at a weird angle, or is my, know? And so I don't know. I guess I'm trying to figure out the difference between just like trying to tend to all these different like signs and symptoms and identifying from within, because it seems like this is more like
and this,
I don't know. I'm a little bit not sure, I guess. That's my question.
Okay, I love that. And this is something that I am fascinated by, and I really want to learn from you guys. Obviously, with physical disability and you're missing information, or information is being processed in a different way. My question for you guys would be, does your vision automatically compensate, in the sense like you're describing, Andrea? You're kind of looking at your legs, you're using visual information, and maybe with your hands kind of manipulating your leg, adjusting your straps. I'm really curious if that is how you're adapting your nervous system to create that extra information that you need. What do you guys think?
Could I say something here for the athletes?
Please.
As a coach and working with para for many, many, many years, everyone has different disabilities, different ailments, and everything else like that. The biggest thing is just to try to find yourself within, so you can reflect upon yourself from without, if that makes sense. So you can feel your body, what's happening inside, but you got to look at your body from the outside and try to feel what's happening there. Just simple little things. Pouring yourself a cup of tea. Try it later tonight and try to give yourself awareness of what movements you do to pour a cup of tea, and how you get the kettle to boil and that sort of stuff, and put the tea bag in, or pour the hot water over top of your specialty teas or whatever. But just start making yourself a little bit more aware of your body and your processes that you do in your everyday life, and it'll help you a lot as an athlete later on.
I love that. Absolutely. And it's, I think for everybody, it is a very individual process. But I'm really intrigued to know that. I'd love to have that conversation with you guys. Maybe when we get the chance to ride a chairlift together or something, I'd love to hear from you after you've had a chance to think about it. Okay, how do I process my balance? What is it for me that I pay attention to, and what sense perceptions do I use to calibrate something like my balance, or in Mike's example, a series of movements to achieve a goal, like making a cup of tea. That's a brilliant idea. Just choose not just even a seated meditation practice, but you can do just a walking or a live in life. Well, we say walking meditation, really what we mean is just any action in your day-to-day life that you normally wouldn't pay attention to, but you decide to focus on, and then that action in and of itself becomes a meditative process.